Hello, what's going on, everybody? Hello. What's going on, everybody? Uh-oh, we got some. What's going on, everybody? How about that? Why do I have feedback? Why do I have feedback? Hold on. There we go. That's better. What's up, y'all? What's up? What's up? What's up? Let me just make sure I don't have any feedback on my stream real quick. Hold on. Wasn't thinking that was gonna happen. Let me go to my channel. Y'all, we are live on YouTube, but I gotta make sure I don't have any feedback real quick before we start, because it's a little glitchy. Why are we so glitchy? Oh, y'all already here. If you are on the YouTube channel, y'all let me know if y'all hear feedback. Y'all let me know, because I'm scared to make this loud. If you are on, yeah, why do I hear all this feedback? Y'all, let me fix this. How about that? Okay. Let's see if that worked. Okay. Is it working now? Let's see if that worked. Okay. Is it working now? See, I got feedback though. What is going on? I don't understand. Yeah, but is it double? Is it double, y'all, or is it just one? Because I feel like I must have myself up somewhere on two screens. Because I'm like, why do I hear myself twice? Let me see what's on here. Okay, I'm gonna take this off. Okay. I'm gonna close that. All right. So I'm not straight. No, I'm not double talking, or y'all can't hear me twice. No feedback. I just want to make sure. I think I have my I think I have another. I have 3 screens up here, so the 3 screens sometimes it will show it will play the audio twice, And I'm tripping because I'm like, why is it doing that? Okay, so no feedback, no extra noise. All right, let me add this camera back though, because I do need this extra camera. And then y'all let me know if y'all can still hear it. Okay, so we good over here. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. If I don't have any extra feedback, I'm gonna go ahead and get started with today's lesson. Because today we are talking about, and I think that's the problem. I have like a bunch of screens up, y'all. Okay. I'm gonna close this. Okay. All right. So we are going to talk about electric filing today. And this is one of my favorite subjects to teach. I know I say that about every subject, but it really truly is one of my favorite subjects. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. As long as y'all can hear me, we are going to go ahead and get started. So, boom, bam, electric filing. All right. So, what we're going to talk about today, number one, is the importance of electric filing. Okay. Why you need to know this information. I mean, I think that's kind of a given why you need to know it, but some of you guys are picking up e-files and you have no idea how to use them. And so today we're going to talk about some of that stuff. All right. We're also going to describe different types of electric files as well as features that you may want to look for when you are purchasing an electric file. Okay. And there's lots of different features out there that some e-files have, some e-files do not have. At the end of the day, I mean, hopefully you want to have an e-file that does it all, but also has the power that you need behind it to get the job done. So we're going to talk about some of those features that you need to look for, as well as different types of bits. Okay. Because bits, they come in a million different shapes, sizes, different types of materials as far as like carbide, ceramic, all types of different e-file bits. And so we're going to discuss those. I have an overhead camera, and that's probably why I was having such issues earlier. Y'all saying y'all can't hear for real? Y'all let me know on YouTube if y'all can hear me or not. Let me know if y'all can hear me, because my mic says it's going through. Because I don't have a mic on the other one. Okay. Alicia, you say you can't hear? You can't hear? Okay. All right. Well, big tie, big teen girl, big teen, big biting girl. She says she can hear. So we're gonna go with that. Okay. Lizette says she can hear. All right. So we're gonna keep moving. All right. So we're also gonna talk. We got a lot of people in here today live. That's what's up. All right. I'm also going to lightly demonstrate a couple of different things with the e-file. Always remember that my students have they get their hands-on instruction in the classroom with Miss Shayla. So I do go over some of the stuff on the live, but you got to come into the school. You got to enroll in order to be able to see everything that we teach in the school. Okay. So just keep that in mind. This is the theory only, with some visuals and demonstrations, small demonstrations. Okay. Awesome. Thanks, Alicia. I'm glad you can hear now. All right. So we're also going to talk about electric filing with pedicuring and some troubleshooting that you may need to know about when it comes to why your e-file may or may not be working or doing what you want it to do. And then we'll talk about different safety tips as well for an e-file. Mermaid said, you gave me the best advice a couple of years ago on a new drill. Thank you. And I can hear you. Awesome. Okay, so let's go ahead. I don't want to keep y'all here too long on a Sunday. Okay. All right. So let's talk about the importance of electric filing for a nail technician. Okay. Number one, electric files, they're a very useful tool. Okay. They're going to assist you by saving time. It's going to allow you to shape the nails more consistently, as well as perform more precise maintenance procedures. Okay. It's also going to refine your work. You'll be able to refine your work more easily. Okay. E-files also help to alleviate your stress that and pressure that happens to your hands and wrists. Okay. Therefore, it's going to reduce the possibility of CTDs. Okay. And additional training for e-files can be found in different places. Okay. One of the number one places that I like to get my education from is school. Okay. So if you're not enrolled in school or never been to nail school and you're doing nails, you absolutely should. Okay. There's also private classes that are given by independent educators, as well as workshops, trade shows, industry manufacturers on the internet. A lot of industry manufacturers do offer training for their specific drill bits and electric files. Okay. So that means you should buy your electric file from a reputable dealer or someone who can also train you as well. Okay. So it's an important part of your services when it comes to e-filing that you are safe and you use your education to perform safe services. Okay. Because you can really hurt somebody using an e-file. I tell a story in my classroom all the time about a time that I actually sent a client to the hospital from using an e-file. I had never used one before. My first time using it, I had one of those extra coarse bits, like the 3, 4, 5X coarse bits, one of them. And I was just e-filing on her nail and it went whoop all the way around. It slipped and went all the way around her finger. And I cut her finger, I'll never forget it was her pinky finger, all the way from her cuticle line to the other side of the cuticle line. And she needed stitches. Luckily, I was a licensed nail tech with insurance. Okay. And I sent her ass right to the hospital. She got stitches, paid the insurance paid for it. And she came right back to my salon right after and asked me, could I finish her nails? I was very lucky that I didn't get sued. Okay. Yes, I did it on around the world. That's exactly what it was. I did it around the world. Whoop whoop. Okay. Which was very scary for me. And again, I had no business using an e-file at all. I had no business using it. All right. So keep that in mind when you guys are out here using these tools with no training, because that lady surely could have sued me. She surely could have. Okay. So let's describe some of the aspects or parts of an electric file that's very important for you to know. Okay. They don't just work because they work. There's reasons for or there is mechanics behind why it works. All right. So micromotor machines is another word that you can use to describe an e-file. Okay. E-files are used, or e-files that are used in salons are known as micromotor machines because the motor is located in the handpiece. Okay. In the handpiece. Someone asked me in the live, was the speed too high? It was too high and my ass could not, didn't know what I was doing. Okay. You could cut somebody at it with it being too high. You can cut somebody because your drill bit is too coarse for what you're trying to do. Listen, I don't recommend ever using 4X, 5X drill bits. I mean, there's really no need for that. Okay. So to keep it moving, the micromotor is in the handpiece. So what does that mean? I have our and you guys, I just want y'all to know this is the new prototype for the new Mary Negron School of Nails e-file. Okay. My logo will be right here. Right here. All right. But this is it. It is chart. It has all types of features. We'll get to that in a second. But when I say that the motor is located in the handpiece. This is what I mean by the handpiece. Okay. The micro motor, or the motor for the machine, is located in here. This is the most important part of your electric file. Okay. It can be replaced, yes, depending on the manufacturer, but this is the most expensive part of your electric file. Okay. Hey, Exquisite. So it's easy to replace because the hand pieces and boxes, they can be sold separately, okay, depending on, again, the manufacturer. So there are many different brands and types of micro motor machines available for every budget. All right. I'm not telling you to go out there and spend $1 billion on an e-file. What I'm telling you to do is to listen to this class, learn what features you need to have, and then purchase according to your coins. Okay. Trust me, I worked with very cheap e-files several times in my life that did everything I needed them to do. All right. So keep that in mind. It doesn't have to be expensive. Now, craft and hobby tools are not designed for use on human nails. And what do I mean by that? You probably, I don't have one with me here at the moment, but you probably all have seen the little cordless ones. They only go in one direction. They're very loud. Okay. So, and they're very strong, and they can really damage the nails. You have no control over them whatsoever. Okay. Yes, this is the new design of the new e-file. It's a 45K. It's rechargeable on this little stand. I love it. It's very strong. I can't wait to get them out to you guys. Yes, Dremel drills. Dremel drills, D. Marie. Absolutely. That is the ones that hang by the cords that are hanging from the nail table. Those are not meant for use on nails. They can go super high speed. I mean, you imagine this e-file going 45K. That is super strong. These other Dremel drills can go some of them up to 70, 100K. You can really hurt someone. Please do not use them. All right. Please do not use them on human beings. All right. Now, let's talk about revolutions per minute, which in short would be RPMs. You've probably heard that word before when you're on YouTube, or excuse me, not on YouTube, on TikTok or on YouTube trying to look at, well, yeah, YouTube. Amazon's what I was about to say. On Amazon trying to buy an e-file, and you had no idea what you were purchasing. All right. So the RPMs is very important that you choose an e-file that has a good bit of RPM. What is RPM? Okay, we said revolutions per minute, but that is actually the definition, is the speed of the electric file is measured in RPMs. Okay, thank you, Tyler. Thank you. This is the number of times in a minute that the bit spins in a complete circle. Okay. Machines can vary in RPMs capacity between 0 to 35. And now mine is 45. So that is, there's a lot of range there. So no matter how strong of a revolutions per minute, or how high of a revolutions per minute your e-file will go to, we generally want to stay, when we're working with the e-file, within that middle range of capacity to prolong the life of your e-file. So for instance, Chris said, I would say a minimum of 30K for nail techs. A minimum. It needs to be a minimum of 30K. Otherwise, you're not going to have any power. Okay. So for instance, this e-file, I just told y'all, it goes all the way up to 45K. Y'all hear that? Listen how quiet it is too. 45K. Now, do we want to use it in 45K all the time? Absolutely not. Okay. So like, I like to use this example. So if you have a Corvette and you also have a Toyota Camry, right? Your Corvette can get to a higher speed very quickly. It has horsepower. Okay. Horsepower. So that horsepower is what makes that car be able to get to that speed of, let's just say, 75 miles an hour, all right, quicker without any issues. You hit that gas and it goes. You ever heard the phrase 0 to 100 real quick? Well, that that Mustang or that sports car can get to that very quickly without blowing the motor. Okay? Now you got your Toyota Camry over here. No shade to anybody that drives a Toyota Camry, but in order for you to get to 75 very quickly, you're going to have to smash the smash the gas all the way to the floor. And it might not still be able to get up to that, catch up to that Mustang or that sports car. Okay. So, because it has a 4-cylinder engine versus a 6-cylinder engine, which is more powerful. So, does that make sense? So, I say that to say that in order for you to not blow up your e-file, which a lot of you guys, because I see it on the internet, I just watched a whole bunch of YouTube videos earlier. This one particular YouTube channel talks about, issues with brands and issues with nail techs having problems with this brand, that brand. Long story short, they were talking about e-files and they were saying, oh, I bought this e-file from Melody Susie and don't buy from them because their e-files are trash and blah 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 blah. And one thing that I did notice is that a lot of the complaints that people were having with e-files were complaints about cheaper e-files that really, ma'am, you had no business going, 20K or 30K the entire time that you're e-filing. Oh, excuse me, not 30K. A lot of those smaller e-files don't even go that fast. But you had it going at high speed the entire time you were working with it. Okay. So if you just drive your car at 100 miles an hour for an hour, you're probably going to blow the motor. Okay. You're probably going to blow the motor. So you're going to want to stay somewhere in the middle. Okay. Of the range of your e-file when your working speed. Okay. So if it's 35K, you'll want to stay somewhere in between 15, 17K in order for that e-file not to overheat and blow up. All right. Now, I'm not saying that it will, but when you're at 35K or the highest speed, you're probably going to want to use that just when you're doing like a cut down for a few seconds and leave it at that. Okay. Because you're going to blow that thing up. I will tell you that I never have good experience with more cheaper e-files. Don't matter what brand they are. If they're really, really cheap, they don't last long. I have an e-file. It's not here. Oh, it's at the school. No, it's not. It's here. Hold on. Now, I have had this e-file for at least 15 years. Can you say it? Look at it. Okay. It's been through it. It's been through it, but it is a Medicool. It was a $400 drill 15 years ago, or e-file 15 years ago, and it still works. The only thing is it's no longer portable. I have to keep it plugged in because the battery is shot. Okay. So if you buy an e-file that is a quality e-file that has a warranty and things of that nature, that's going to be better. Let me answer a couple of questions. Stiletto Square says, no, you'll use that Melody Susie once. And if you happen to get dust in it, it's going to break down. This is true. But my question to you would be, how often do you clean your handpiece? These are things that have to be done. Hot Nail says, I don't ever have to go over half. It's literally super powerful. See? Yeah, there you go. All right. So, and we'll get to some of those maintenance questions in a minute. It's a Mani Pro. Yep. All right. So moving right along. Uh biting girl, biting girl. Girl, you bite people? She says, what if you have one that doesn't have a dial? Hmm. When you say the dial, what do you mean? You don't have a dial. What type do you have? There's several different types. So we're going to show a few different examples on here. All right. So now that we've moved from past revolutions per minute, let's talk about power and torque. Okay. Power and torque. First of all, what is torque? What is torque? Torque is power, the power of a machine or its ability to keep turning, okay, even when it's under pressure, okay, during filing. Let's explain that a little bit. Torque is the how much power that e-file has without you pushing too hard, okay? So machines vary in torque, and the RPM speed is related to the strength or the power of the torque of the machine. Meaning, if you have an e-file that's only 20K, okay, let's just say it's one of these. Oh, how fast does this one go? Oh, it's dead. I don't know. This one little pin thing or whatever here. I think this one goes 20, maybe 25. I cannot, I love this little e-file. I keep it in my pocket. I like to remove gel polish off the toes with it when I'm doing my, when I'm doing pedicures and things of that nature. But baby, if you try to remove polish, excuse me, not remove polish, cut down with this, it's going to cut off. It will cut off. It might even die on you. Okay, completely break. All right. So because it doesn't have a lot of power behind it. Again, it's like a think of like a 18 wheeler, right? That 18 wheeler has a whole lot of torque, meaning it has more power at a low speed. So that 18 wheeler can pull 10,000 pounds up a hill going 5 miles an hour. But a Toyota, in order for it to move, you're going to have to hit that higher. You're going to have to push the gas all the way down in order to get it to move. And then you end up blowing it up. So if that makes sense to you, all right, I want to make sure that makes sense, because the density and hardness of the product that you're working on, meaning like acrylic versus gel, will determine the type of bit that you should use and how fast or how much power you should put behind that e-file. So more powerful machines have larger and stronger motors, high torque. Okay. Oh, sorry, it's the light. Less powerful machines have a less powerful motor and smaller, lighter hand pieces. Okay. So you will be using a higher speed and using more aggressive bits. All right. So that is, more aggressive bits can cause injuries, unnecessary injuries. So if the handpiece slows down while you're using it, you're pushing down on the nail and you're pushing down really hard and it stops. Ooh, you're working either too low for that speed, you need to turn up the speed, or your e-file is not quite strong enough to handle it. So for use on enhancement products or nails like liquid and powder systems, meaning acrylic, or LED UV hard gel products, you should look for a more powerful machine. All right. And I don't know too many of y'all that are working with just natural nails. I don't. Hey, who is that? You don't have no name by your name. So more powerful motors are stronger and they file better on hardened enhancement products with less effort, less pressure, okay, and less chance of injury to the natural nail or to the client or even to you. If you have ever hurt yourself with an e-file, you know what I'm talking about. So here's something you need to remember. Keep this in mind, okay? You may want to write this down. High torque, meaning a very strong e-file, equals more power at a lower speed. So you can turn it down low. You don't have to have it going super duper fast, and it will do the job. Okay. Lower torque, meaning your cheaper e-files are the ones that have less power, like this. Okay. Lower torque equals less power, and therefore you're going to have to crank the speed up, and eventually the e-file is just going to die on you. Okay. So moving to the next subject here. All right. Everybody understand power and torque and what you need to look for in an e-file when you are purchasing one based on that information? Okay. So when you go and buy an e-file, for instance, here's the box. Right? You got to look at these features. Okay. Yeah, I can get this in gold, but I don't know if I'm gonna do that. All right. You're gonna look on your the box or on the e-file or something, and it says here high torque, 45,000 RPMs. Okay, so that's something that we're going to want to look for when we're purchasing an e-file. All right, don't have to be 45K. All that tells you, baby, is that my e-file is the most powerful e-file that you ever had in your hand. Okay, it's going to do the job every time. All right, now let's talk about some other features that you need to know about. All right, and what you should look for in an electric file. And this is an example of the old version of our file. We're updating the e-file now to something a little stronger. That was a 35K. All right. So machine features that you need to pay attention to when you're choosing an electric file. First of all, evaluate your wants, your needs, and your coins. Okay. So for both enhancement and pedicure services, you want to get a powerful machine with a high RPM. All right. Test machines if you can. All right. Don't just go by a brand's name, or the girl that you love on Instagram or TikTok uses this file. A lot of times those people are getting kickbacks. Okay. Let's be honest. So if you can get your hand on it, it would be better. Honestly, because you don't know how that e-file feels in your hand. Vibrations are a nail tech's worst enemy. All right. So here's a tip. Many manufacturers, trade publications, and educators offer free how-to videos and tutorials online. Watch some of those if you can't get your hands on one to physically touch it before you purchase a machine. Do your research, in other words. Okay. Now, forward and reverse. That is a feature that you are going to want to have. Why? Why do we want forward and reverse? Does anyone know? Ask yourself, or ask the manufacturer or whoever you're buying, or Google or whatever, does the e-file go in reverse? Ask yourself, do you need your e-file to go in reverse? The reason you would need your e-file to go in reverse is if you are left-handed. Okay. If especially if you're left-handed, you'll want both. Yes. Right or left-handed. Yes. All right. Because if you're left-handed, you'll need to put the e-file in reverse. Also, when you are doing your own nails, you'll need the e-file to go in reverse. When you're working on your non-dominant hand or your left hand, okay, you're going to want it in forward. When you go to the right hand, it's easier because that's how our brain works. It mirrors itself. We'll want to reverse it. Okay. Now, can you do your other hand without it being in reverse? Yeah, you can. Okay. Will you want to? No. All right. Now, you'll also want to look for hand pieces, most hand pieces have this feature, which is the twist lock chuck. Okay. That means that you twist here. Okay. And the bit comes out. Okay. And you twist it back and it locks. There should be a little lock what am I looking for? What would you call that? Little lock indicator right here. Let me pull that up so you guys can see. Right here, it sees a little lock and an unlock. Okay. Now, oops, wrong one. Boom. Now there are e-files out there that are like $10, or I call them drills that are about $10 that have a little button you press and you twist it and it locks it. Those are not advisable to use. And the reason being is because if this e-file handpiece, if for some reason I forget to lock it, like it's unlocked right now. See that? It's unlocked. The bit can move. If I try to turn on my e-file, look, now look, the e-file is on. It's on, but it's not turning. That is a safety feature, okay? You will not want your e-file, this to turn on and start going 25 RPMs, and then this ends up slinging across the room, or even worse, in your face or eye, or your client's face or eye, okay? Not a good look. Now, another feature, especially if you have a tabletop e-file, okay, one that sits on top of your table, a foot pedal is a great feature, okay? They have two different types. Thank you, Mr. Pink. Thank you so much. Thank you, Quincy. There's two types. You have your on and off foot pedal, which literally when you tap the button or the foot pedal, it either turns it on or off. It's not like the pedal on your car, which goes from 0 to whatever speed. All right. So you have that type of pedal. And then you have your variable speed, which is like the pedal on your, or accelerator on your car. Okay. That is more ideal. I personally like one that has a variable speed. That way you don't have to slow down turn the dial down when you want to go slower, or turn it up when you want to go faster. You physically have to stop to do that. Okay. And that is something that can be a little aggravating if you have a foot pedal, but either one I'm happy to have. All right. Now, one thing I do want to tell you guys about the forward and reverse feature. Okay. Chris says it's almost impossible to find variable speed pedals now. I agree. I haven't seen one in years. Used to be one on that Koopa machine that was purple. It had a on and off or variable speed. One thing I want you guys to stop doing, okay? When you put your e-file in reverse, don't just hit the reverse button. So here, my e-file does come with a reverse and a forward button, okay? So what you don't want to do, a lot of times you guys will turn it on, and then you're like, oh, I need to put it in reverse, and then you just boom, hit it and put it in reverse. That is the quickest way to destroy your e-file. My e-file has this really cool feature. It has a pause button. So when you push this button right here, when you push this button down, it pauses it. And then you put it in reverse and then start it again. Okay? Do not do that. And let me tell you why. Alicia said, Alcina said, oh my God, I've been doing that. Don't do that. That's the quickest way to think about it. When you're driving your car and you need to go in reverse, do you just slam it in reverse, or do you slow down or stop your car and then put it in reverse? If you've ever done that driving and you throw your car in reverse, you're going to destroy your transmission. Same thing happens. Remember, this is a motor. It's just like a car. Okay. So make sure no matter what type of e-file you have, you need to stop it, turn it off, put it in reverse, or slow it down to 0, put it in reverse, and then turn the speed back up. Kayla said, what happens if you don't have a pause button? That's what you need to do. A girl in her brushes says, I need Ms. Mary's e-file is all I hear. I'm always going to make sure that y'all have, when I choose products to sell to my customers and also my students, I'm always make sure you have the same features that I would want in my own e-file. Okay. And this e-file is not going to be expensive. As a matter of fact, I think Pray has the same type of e-file. I think theirs is like $349. Mine will be nowhere near that. We're talking like $150 for mine. Okay. So support the people who support you. All right. Um, all right. So some other features that you oh, sorry. So let's recap. We want to look for RPM. What is the machine's highest and lowest RPM? Ask that question. This is vital to understanding how powerful it is and will be a factor in your bit selection. Okay. Variable speed control. Instead of slowing or bogging down when pressure is applied during use, the machine speeds up to maintain the same RPM that you set it to. Okay. So in other words, you want to look for an e-file that when you put a lot of pressure on it, say when you're doing a cut down, it should keep going. It shouldn't slow down on you or bog down, as we like to say. It should also have a comfortable handpiece. Okay. So let's look at these two different hand pieces. Chris said, I've been supporting you for a long time. You have. Anastasia, I wish I was in your area. I would take your class. Well, you're taking it now. Look at the hand pieces here. Okay. Look at these closely. What do you notice about the white one versus the silver one? Well, this one needs a little Ozempic. This one is on Zepbound. Sorry, I had to. All right. So this one is slimmer. This one is a little thicker. It's a little on the thick side. Okay. So when you hold it, it's heavier here, which is nice. You want to have a little balance there, right? But this one is literally like a pen. Okay? It's like a pen. You hold it like a pen. It's thin. It doesn't hurt around your right here in the crease of your fingers here. It doesn't get too heavy. All right. Now a lot of nail techs like a heavier handpiece, and I do. This one has a nice little bit of weight to it as well. It's not like it's paper thin here, but I prefer an e-file handpiece that is thinner like a pen and also is not too heavy. That's me personally. And then also the vibration. All right. Vibrations. Chris said, tell me that has a straight cord. It has a very small coil here. Okay. Very small coil. So you can take this, you can put this e-file use it as a desktop. So it charges in the back. So it stays, you can have it always charging. This is actually a charging station. Okay. It does have a little bit of a coil to the cord. You want to choose an e-file that also handpiece that doesn't vibrate. Okay. That doesn't vibrate. And you'll notice with this one, even if you can hear it, Alcina, this is my brand. It's 45K. If you look at it in my hand, just holding it, if I turn it all the way up, it's at 45 right now. Okay. It's not vibrating. It's not shaking. It's not moving. Okay. Vibrations can cause fatigue. Okay. Vibrations can cause fatigue, and that's annoying when especially you guys, when you've been filing how much time do you spend e-filing all day? You probably spend let's just say you spend 2 hours with every client. You probably spend 45 minutes total e-filing. You got your prep. You got your filing. Once you lay your acrylic or your products, you're going to file that. Finish filing. Okay, a lot of that comes. A lot of your entire process is holding an e-file, so you want it to be comfortable. Okay, Amelia said you can barely hear it. Yes. Melanie, numbness too. Yes, you end up and that's a horrible feeling when you got all day to work. Okay, so a comfortable handpiece is very important. And then closed casing handpiece. Okay, so this question was asked earlier, or something was said earlier about the handpiece getting dust in it. Okay, so when we talk about a closed casing, let me make this big again so you guys can see. All right. Closed casing means this little hole right here. Okay. When you twist this, when you open it, it opens up like a flower. When you close it, it clamps down onto the bit. All right. Closed casing, this is closed casing. There's no way dust is really going to get in there. Okay. Now there will be dust that gets in there, obviously, because there is a hole there, for God's sake. But dust is not going to get in there because this is a closed casing. There are lots of e-files out there, especially the ones that are like Dremels. They look like they open up wide and dust can get in there. Now, we'll talk about maintenance and stuff like that a little bit later. Okay. Again, there are things that you can purchase as well to protect your handpiece casing. You see this little blue thing right here? Now, a lot of people use this to identify their bits, like if it's a coarse bit or maybe a medium bit or whatever. They're actually best used for keeping the dust out of they're dust protectors to keep the dust out of your e-file. Okay, so get you some. They're literally pennies. Okay. Now, any questions? All right. Now, when you purchase an e-file, there's a few things you want to look for outside of the actual e-file. Okay. Your warranty. You want to buy, I never buy, if somebody offers me a warranty on something that I purchased that was expensive, for instance, a washer and dryer, a refrigerator, an e-file, I'm going to make sure that I buy that. Now, with these types of products, they usually come with some type of maybe 1 year, 6 months, something like that, with normal wear and tear doesn't count. But you want to know, how long is the warranty and what does it cover? Okay. Is it possible to buy an extended warranty? A lot of manufacturers, especially these very, very expensive e-files, these, Koopas and Manny Pros and things like that, they come with a warranty and they recommend handpiece cleaning. Okay. If you don't know what I'm talking about, when I say handpiece cleaning, that means you've never cleaned your handpiece. And if you have an e-file that broke or stopped working for some reason, just out of nowhere, and you never cleaned your handpiece, it's probably your fault. Okay. Now, I will say this. I don't recommend you cleaning your handpiece yourself. All right. If you do not know how. All right. Now, there are videos on how to do it. All right. But companies that they will tell you, D. Marie says, send mine right to Cooper. Wesley said, I'm calling about your e-files extended warranty. All right. Cooper will tell you, you must send this e-file in once a year or whatever to be cleaned or to be maintenanced. All right. And they either do it for free or it's a small fee instead of buying a whole nother e-file. All right. Now, warranty sometimes will be like, okay, well, you got to pay $50 instead of buying a whole new e-file. That's, warranties are a lot like insurance. Okay. So, do they have a loaner program? Some of these companies will send you another e-file to use while yours is being serviced. However, if you are a smart nail technician, okay, sorry, you will have 2 e-files. Okay, you will have 2. I'm going to get it in gold and white and black, and then I'm going to do a gold special edition where there will probably only be like maybe 5 or 10 of them sold. Special editions. Okay, so there'll be a black. They come in white, black, gold, silver, pink, rose gold, and red. I don't know which color I'm going to do, but I'm definitely going to do a black for you black girls. Black girls. All right. So any questions about warranties? All right. Now let's talk about bits. Let me get this back on the screen here. Black every day. Okay, y'all like black better? See, my aesthetic is like a doctor's office clean, white aesthetic, but I get it. There's a lot of people like all black stuff. So I'm gonna add that to the I'm probably gonna we just got a new shipment of lamps. This one's brand new, still got the plastic on it. I'm gonna do a black one of these too for you black girls and boys. Okay. All right, let's talk about the different types of bits and how to use them for which services. Okay. So thank you, Cammie. Um, Bits, what are they? They are a tool that is inserted into the handpiece of an electric file. They come in a variety of shapes, sizes, styles, okay? And knowing which bit to use will ensure the client's safety as well as saving you time and money. So wobbling or bent bits can harm the electric file and also cause damage to your client's nails. And they may cause the nail professional to develop what we call CTDs. I mentioned that earlier, cumulative trauma disorder. Okay. Or more, a name that you guys know is uh, carpal tunnel. Okay. Also, when you're using your hands a lot, you can get lots of pain in your joints and wrists. Okay. In your elbows, arms, shoulders, all of that stuff. So having using the right e-files and the right e-file bits, right e-file files and bits, is important. Now let's talk about the anatomy of a bit. Okay. Yes. Cramping is awful. So when choosing bits, look for the following, okay? You want them to be concentric. And what does that word mean? Concentric means a bit that does not wobble or vibrate. So it's completely equal on both sides. It's not bent one way, or the shaft of it is not bent at all. Oh, excuse me, the shank. Oh, I said shaft. Because bits that wobble or vibrate, they tend to or when they're spinning, okay, when they're spinning, can damage the inside of your handpiece and also damage the client's nail. So it's very important that you use bits. So how does a bit end up getting non-concentric? Anybody know? It happens all the time. And if you're anything, I've got a whole thing of bits in here. I'm going to show y'all something real quick. But answer me, how do you just accidentally, how do you cause your bits to be wobbly? This is my wobbly bit. Yeah, this is my wobbly bit. How does that happen? Anyone know? Hello, is anyone here? Hello. There we go. There we go. Yeah, you drop them. How does that happen? Well, it's connected here, and then next thing you know, your stuff's on the side of the table, and this falls, hits the floor, and it hits it just like this, donk, every time, right? And that's how you get a wobbly bit, and you may not even realize that it's wobbly. Okay, you may not even realize it until until you actually start seeing dents and lines in your client's nails. Okay. So let me show you. You can actually see this one wobble. Okay. But it's gotta be going kind of slow. All right. So I'm going to show y'all this. Hold on. Let me turn. Okay. Hold on. I'm going to show my students first, and then I'll show you guys. Okay. So here, maybe I can show you guys. Maybe not. But okay, there you go. Can y'all see that? It is right at the tip because it's going pretty fast. Let me turn it down. Well, it's going 4 RPMs. Okay, you can see the tip of it is wobbling. Y'all see it? Good. Okay, thank you. Let me know. Y'all see it? It's wobbling. It's a wobbly bit. That, when you put it on the nails, my students are online today. I'm at home. It's Sunday. We do Sunday school from home. Okay. If you were to put this on a client's nail, it would literally be like it's spanking the nail. every time it touches it. So what you're going to end up getting is dents in the nail or uneven filing. Okay. So that is very important that your bits, if they get damaged, this is, I keep this for teaching purposes. You see, I got a little marker on it to let me know. All right. That is a non-concentric bit. Okay. Now, how are you aging in reverse? Oh, girl, you're so sweet. Um, Surface smoothness is the next thing we want to look for. Okay. And I've got some examples of that as well. Okay. So surface smoothness, when we're talking about surface smoothness, we're talking about the actual grit here, or excuse me, the flutes here. They need to be the same all the way around. Okay. And this is an example. This bit right here is an example of, let me see if I can, let me add this to the stage here. Boom. Let me pull this up. There we go. This one is an example of, can you see where the flutes are damaged here for my people on the YouTube? We're on YouTube, by the way, if you're interested in watching and seeing what they're seeing, you see it a whole lot clearer. You can see where the teeth are damaged. Okay. How does this happen? How do your teeth get damaged? Let me show y'all this. How do the teeth get damaged? Can y'all see the teeth on that? They're not the same all the way around. How does that happen? Well, in this case, this one was I used it to remove stones. Okay. And you should have a whole nother bit. So in other words, this one gets used to remove stones. Okay. All the time. Listen, this is something that I want you guys to start doing. Okay. And I do this with a lot of my different implements. Okay. You need to have special implements that get used only for certain things. Okay. For instance, this right here, things that you want to be really, really sharp and stay sharp, please don't use them to pluck stones and remove stuff with, because it's going to destroy them. And when you're spending, $30 on a pair of Tweezerman nippers, what you don't want is for your nippers to become wompy or uneven or not sharp. Okay. So these nippers I only use to pluck stones off with. They're a rainbow color. I know that these are for stones. But another thing I like to do is I'll take some glue and put a little diamond right here on it so that I know these are for stones only. These, however, these don't cut anything but loose skin, meaning like hangnails that are hanging. You don't want to cut someone with an E5 or with a nipper that's dull. Okay. So the same thing with your bits. Okay. You want your bits to stay sharp. Use them only for what they're intended to be used for. In other words, do not use your drill bits to remove stones or anything that's not acrylic or gel off of the nail. It's going to destroy the bit. Okay. And you won't get when you're buying bits, this bit right here was $29. This is a tornado bit. This bit I literally only use to remove gel polish. That's it. That's it. Nothing else. And I buy them in these different colors for that reason, or I will put one of these colored guards on here to let me know what bit is for what, because you should be buying more than one bit, y'all. Okay. You got to sanitize these things. All right. Any questions about that? Okay. Another thing you need to look for when you're with bits is the edges. And what do I mean by the edges? Well, many bits are cut with these finished edges that so that they feel, or excuse me, so that they're not sharp on the top. Okay. Feel the edges of a bit before purchasing and look for beveled edges that are not sharp. I'm gonna say this, and this might piss off some people, but I don't care. I teach nail techs that are beginners. Okay. I teach nail techs uh, to be safe. All right. So there's absolutely no reason on this earth for you to use a bit that looks like this. Okay. Hold on. Let me make sure we're good here. No, meaning the top is flat across the top. All right. You see this? Flat across the top. There is no, because that is sharp and that will cut you. Okay. That will cut you. All right. Y'all see what I'm showing y'all here? No reason for that. These bits are dangerous. I don't use them. I don't sell them. I don't use them. And there's no reason for you to use them. Okay. This right here is the reason why I lacerated and did that around the world on that lady and cut her open where she needed stitches because of this part right here. It wasn't the fact that I was using a 4x, 5x bit, because here's a 5x bit. Okay. This bit would not, if I had been using this type of bit, which is a safety bit, it has a top on it that's smooth and rounded. Even though it's a 4 or 5x, I wouldn't have cut that lady. What cut that lady was the edges of this flat top bit. Okay. Now, professionals use them every day. I use them? I use them for years. I see no need to use them because there's too much of a risk that you're going to hurt someone. Okay. Why use it? And besides, it's meant for cutting. What do you don't, that edge of it? It's too dangerous. You'll notice that every single bit that I have, let me take this out. It's sitting right here. Okay. Every single bit here is a safety bit, meaning it has the edges on are rounded or beveled. Okay. So it's not going to, no matter what I do, I'm not going to cut my client's cuticle. Okay. Thank you, Cammie. Thank you so much. Now you also need to look for grit. What is grit? Okay. What is grit? Grit is the number of abrasive particles per inch. All right. On the hand file or the buffer. This goes for hand files and buffers. Okay. Now, the higher the number, the smaller the particles, and the finer the grit. The coarser the grit, the lower the grit number, meaning an 80 grit file. And that means there's going to be large individual pieces of grit per square inch. So it's going to be coarser. Same thing goes for sanding bands and also carbides and things of that nature. Okay. Now, when it comes to your sanding bands, they don't normally say things like 80 grit, 120 grit, stuff like that. Sometimes they'll just say medium, fine, coarse. But for this one, for example, this one actually says, okay, sanding band medium, mini 3 medium, coarse 120 grit. All right. So this one is coarse and it's 120 grit. Okay. Now imagine that 120 grit. This one, these are medium and they are 150 grit. And it says it on the container. All right. But not all of these will say, like, for instance, these Kiara Sky ones, all it says is fine, medium, have different ones. This one's medium. Doesn't say the grit. Okay. Now, when it comes to the ceramics or the carbides or the metal ones, okay, they're going to come in medium fine, extra coarse, XX coarse, things like that. Okay. So you'll choose them. I'm gonna be honest with you. The only bits that I use are medium and coarse. I don't use fine. I don't use fine at all because when you start using fine, now you're smoothing out the nail so much that the gel polish peels right off. Okay. You want your foundation or the actual nail to be buffed or filed, finish filed to at least 180. Okay. Um 150 is fine, something like, but at least 180. All right. I always use a coarse buffer. And when I say a coarse buffer, these purple ones are coarse buffers. That's always what I finish buff with, because I wanted to have some etch marks in it. So my polish doesn't peel. Okay. But what you use is your business. All right. You use whatever you want to use. Just make sure you know what you're using and why you're using it. Okay. Chris said, I do the final refining with a hand file. Absolutely. I meant more of, when you're filing, doing your main filing, I never file with anything more than a medium or a coarse. Okay. But that's me. Now, the types of bits that are out there. We're going to talk about 7 different ones. All right. Alcina, the answer to that is no. All right. Different types of bit. There's 4 main types of bits. Main 4. All right. We got our diamond bits. Okay. Carbide bits, silicone bits, and natural bits. All right. Great variety of bits and shapes available out there for different applications. First, let's talk about diamond bits. Diamond bits are my favorite. Okay. Why are they my favorite? Because they are the bits that you can use on the natural nail. Okay. And when you're using bits on a natural nail, these are the only types of bits you should ever use on the natural nail. And they are part of my prep process. Okay. When I tell you that the prep is the most important part of the service, I mean that. I mean, what good are nails that look great that pop right off the next day? All right. So prep is important. So diamond bits are made from both natural and synthetic diamond particles, okay, that are adhered to the metal surface of the bit. Okay. And yes, Chris said, make sure you are using high quality diamond bits. You bet your butt. You better be using not the ones that came free with your e-file. Okay. Those are not high quality bits. Those are barely bits at all, if you ask me. Okay. I hate because when they sent me my e-file, they sent some really nice, like this was one of the bits they sent. And I was like, wow, this is really, really high quality. But you want to make sure you're using high quality bits. Now, this is a diamond bit. Okay. Let me pull this up. I have several diamond bits I'm going to show you guys. Okay. Because diamond bits are my favorite. All right. This is a diamond bit. Diamond bits. All right. They come in all different shapes, sizes. Let me put this on the screen. Let's do this. All right. All diamond bits. Let me pull out some more so y'all can see the different ones. Okay. We got skinny ones. We got fat ones. We got round ones. We got disc shaped ones. Okay. Now, someone asked, are these all for cuticle work? No, they're not. Okay. We've got, hold on. I was trying to hold them all in one hand. Okay. These are all diamonds. How do you know they're diamonds? Because they have they don't have the flutes on them. Okay. They don't have the flutes on them that the carbides and the metal bits have. Okay. Now, is this a metal Material, yes, it is 100%. It's a metal material, but there are diamond particles attached or glued down to um that particular that metal. Now, here's an example of a diamond bit that is a very low quality bit. This one came with an e-file. I'm showing y'all, I'm showing my students this, okay? I'll show you which ones are for cuticle work. Look at, what do you see on this bit that is alarming? We just talked about centrifugal bits. What do you see there? And this is a diamond bit. What do y'all see there? Can y'all see? Oh, there you go. Y'all see that? Y'all see it? Not that it's, well, it is flat, right? So we talked about that, but you see those little spikes sticking up off of it? Y'all, can y'all see it there when I hold it like that? See that? Yeah. It's got like this random, like it looked like it, I don't know, like it's very sharp. Okay. So when you use this, it's going to put divots in your nail as it's spinning. It will actually put ridges. It's not smooth, very good. It's bumpy. It's got bumps in it. So even your carbide bits, you want to check them and be sure, like take it and run your finger around it, feel to make sure that there's no rough spots on it. Okay. Chris said the burrs. Yes, it has burrs. All right. So even diamond bits can have that issue. Now, um, when we use diamond bits, their ranges or grit ranges, okay, they do have a grit range from, medium, fine, extra fine, medium, small, all that stuff. Okay. Personally, I only use fine or medium diamond bits on the natural nail when I'm prepping. Okay. So someone asked which ones would I use for prep. These are bits that I use for prep. Okay. All of these. All right. These very tiny, tiny, okay, bits. All right. My favorite one is this one, this teeny weeny one right here. It's known as a skiver bit or skiver bit. I get this from Atwood Industries. It's one of my favorite bits. It's very, very tiny. You can get in that cuticle area, okay, really, very easily. All right, when you're doing fill-ins. All right. I like to use one like this if I'm doing a fresh set, so I can kind of go all over the entire nail. But I always use this bit, this skiver bit in my prep. All right. Any of these can be used for that, but that skiver bit is my absolute favorite. It's teeny weeny tiny and it gets in there good. Okay. But there's all different kinds of bits out there. I'm starting to really like this one right here. And I know y'all probably look at it and say, what do you use that for? What would you use this one for, y'all? For those that are looking at it going, what the heck would I use that for? I like this. I've been using it a lot lately. Okay. Um, Very good, Amelia. Absolutely. You will use this for if you flood the cuticle or say you get a little bit on the side walls of the polish, you can take this bit and just go in the side here and clean that up. Okay. And it is a diamond bit, so it won't cut the skin. Okay. So diamond bits, when you are looking to purchase them, just remember that diamond bits are they grind. Okay. They're more of a grinding type of bit. So it's going to grind down the product, whatever product it is that you're using. Okay. Now, again, safer on the natural nail as long as it's not too coarse. Now, here's an exception to that. This bit, okay, this bit I really like for pedicuring. Okay, this is a pedicuring bit. Notice that it has let me put this one up here. Notice that it has these holes in it. Okay, but it is also a diamond bit, and this one is coarse. Okay, and it's coarse for a reason. You need for calluses on the feet, you need the bit to be coarse, and it also to grind those callus down, and also it needs to be a diamond bit. Okay. That's a good question. I'm in love with your ex. Your XO. She says best way to distinguish quality diamond bits. I will say this. Um, a diamond bit, you'll only know it if you actually feel it. You won't be able to tell by looking at it, but I can usually tell by the price of it. Okay. If it's $5, it's probably not that high quality. Um, uh, Probably. I mean, they can be, I want to say that skiver bit was only like $10, but like Chris said, make sure you buy it from a reputable supplier, because if you go on Amazon and you buy this big pack of bits and they're like, $20 for a pack of 30 bits, I'm not buying that. Okay. The most what the grits, again, they range from, fine to extra to coarse, but the most common bit grit is going to be your medium grit. Okay. Does it feel lighter or heavier by chance? Not really. Oh, juicy or sweet. You get prettier and prettier every time I see you, girl. And I'm at home. I threw on a jacket because I felt like I was not dressed properly. Thank you so much. You're so sweet. Okay, so higher quality diamond bits last longer and give you a better result. But I will tell you this, okay? Diamond bits don't last nearly as long as carbides, okay? You will rebuy diamond bits more often than you will other bits, okay? They do grind down a lot. Christopher Mayberry 1298 says I agree with her on that. You're so sweet. All right, moving to the next type of bit. The next type of bit is going to be your carbide bits. Now, these are the ones that I use the most. Okay. Um, Carbide bits are made of carbide metal. Okay. If you guys remember from chemistry class, carbide was on that periodic table. Okay. And they come in different shapes, sizes, grits, just like any other bit. Okay. Every shape that I just showed you up in the diamond bits, pretty much they come in carbide bits. Now, the surface of the bit, how do you know it's a carbide bit? By looking at it. It has what we call flutes, and these are grooves. All right, grooves that are inside of, or that are cut into these bits. The wider, well, first let's just start here. The flutes, what they do, because we said that diamond bits grind, right? Well, carbide bits cut, they shave. All right. They shave the surface of the product as they file or as they turn, which reduces dust. All right. So imagine it's almost like those cheese graters, right? They cut it off in chunks, cut the skin off in chunks. So it's not like it's going to be dust flying in the air. But if you were to use a sanding band on the foot, there's going to be a lot of dust. Okay. So the wider the space between the flutes, the coarser the bit. And the closer that the flutes are, the finer the bit. So let me show you an example. So when you look at this one, let me put this on my screen. Add to the stage here. If I put this on the screen, if you notice, this one is coarser, right? Because the flutes are very far apart, okay? Versus this one where the flutes are closer together, all right? So this one is much finer than this one, okay? This is what is this, a 3X course? Yep, 3X course. 3X coarse. Okay. This one is a medium. This one's medium. Okay. Now, Natata said, should I be using a finer one to remove Gel X? Well, Gel X soaks pretty good. Soaks off pretty good. But anytime I am removing gel polish, I'm going to be using a medium. Um, or coarse, whichever, to remove the polish. But if you're removing an entire product, say acrylic or gel, the entire nail, like you're doing a complete removal, I would use a coarse one or a medium one. It just depends. Just make sure it's a safety bit so that you're not cutting. So if you notice here, these have rounded tips on them so that they are not prone to cut. Okay. I only use medium and coarse bits. I don't now I have these 3X ones. I use them for cut downs and things like that, but everything is a safety bit. Okay. All right. Now, now some of these have coatings applied to enhance filing. Okay. And when I so cross and they're also cross cut sometimes so that they can be used in back and forth filing motion. Okay. What does that mean when I say cross cut? That means that the flutes go across each other. Okay. So when you look at it, it'll be like a hat. It'll be like a hatch. I mean, or like a, I say like a beehive. Like you can see all these little, right? But if it's not cross cut, it's meant for only, it'll be for only right-handed or left-handed. So for instance, this bit, this coarse bit, only the flutes only go in one direction. If you look closely, it's like a candy cane. Okay. Let me pull this up for my students to see. All right. It's like a candy cane. It just swirls in one direction. See that? One direction. This can only be used by a right-handed person. Cannot be used by a left-handed person. It wouldn't cut at all. Okay. So I personally like to buy cross-cut bits because they can go in any direction. Okay. Any direction, left or right or forward or reverse, and left or right-handed people. Okay. So keep that in mind. If you're left-handed, you're going to want to make sure you're buying cross-cut bits or bits that are meant for left-handed people. All right. So, specialty carbide bits can be used to remove gel polish from enhancement products as well as prep products for maintenance services. Okay. Meaning your nails, prep the nails. Now, Swiss carbide bits. Okay. Swiss carbide bits, that's something you'll hear a lot. They say they're made in Switzerland. I don't know about all that. That's like when they say it's Brazilian hair and it comes straight from China or India. Okay. I don't know about that because honestly, hey, Capilot nails. I think that's how they Capilot. Good to see you. I don't know that they are necessarily made in Switzerland, but all they are is safety bits. Okay. And when you hear someone say it's a Swiss carbide bit, all they mean is it's a safety bit, meaning this is a safety bit. Okay. It has, see how the flutes go all the way up to the top? It's rounded. Safety bit. Safety bit. Okay. Let me put this on the screen for my YouTube people. All of these are safety bits. So they will be considered Swiss carbide bits. This one, yeah. This is Swiss. This is American. Safety bit, violent bit. Okay. Violent. Safe, violent. Okay. Swiss, everything else. Okay. So don't take that name and say, oh my God, it was made in Switzerland. No, it wasn't, girl. It was made right there in China. Okay. Right there in China. Let's see. Capalot says, I literally listen to you every day in my nail tech class. My teacher don't be teaching nothing. Ooh, girl. Don't tell me that. Don't tell me that. Tell me that you listen on your own and she's not playing me in the background. Because I've heard that before. All right. She also said, so good to see you doing well. Thank you. And you too. All right. Lizette said, how do you clean and sanitize your nail bits? Ooh, I will get to that in just a second. Good question. Good question, Lizette. I'm going to star that one to come back to it so I can answer that. Okay. All right. Now, so everybody got it. Buy crosscut bits, and buy safety bits. Okay. All right. The next type of bit we're going to talk about is silicone bits. So silicone bits, which I'm going to tell you right now, I don't have none of these. I don't use silicone bits, but if you've ever seen one before or used one before, it felt like rubber. Okay. Feels like rubber or like a pencil eraser. Okay. They do come in grits, all right, like coarse to fine. And they literally lightly skim the surface of the nail, the natural nail, okay, to remove non-living cuticle or shine to the natural nail, okay, and artificial nails, but usually they use them on natural nails. Now I'm going to show you these though. There are other types of natural bits out there. Cotton, chamois, goat hair bits. Okay. For instance, this one, you guys have probably seen this before. If you bought one of those really cheap e-files from like Family Dollar, they came with this. Let me put this on the screen. Oh shit. They came with this, a little cotton bit. This has absolutely no use in the nail world whatsoever. Okay. If you get one of these, throw it away. All right. And then you also have your chamois. Okay. Your chamois bits. Let me find my chamois bit. Okay. Let's see. Maybe I don't have my chamois bit. But those are those big yellow ones. They kind of look like you use them for, where is my chamois bit? I keep it in here. It goes. Now mine's dirty because I don't use it for nails. I use it to shine my jewelry. Okay. I put jewelry cleaner on it and then I use this to shine my jewelry. That's why it's black like that. The reason I don't use it on nails, because this does a really good job of buffing of natural nail when you use buffing cream. You can't sanitize this and disinfect it. So they're very cheap. Buy them, use them, give them to the client, tell them to bring it back. But to use next time. But you can't reuse that on a client. So they're a waste of money, really. Okay. I can get the same buff and shine look with a top coat. Okay. Now they do work though, but they are not disinfectable or sanitizable. Okay. And then you also have your where is this? The ones with the hairs on them. These here. Okay. They make these in smaller versions as well. Like these. Okay. These, I'm gonna tell you what I love to use these for. And I only use them very rarely. But I use these when I have completely blinged out nails. If I'm wearing a blinged out nail, something like this. Y'all don't ask me to make this for you, but something like this, right? That is fully diamond out. If you were wearing this look, you'll want to use like some type of cleanser. Put this on your e-file and baby and buff it out and this thing will be shining. I ain't gonna tell you that on my own nails sometimes I use Windex to clean my isn't that pretty? Isn't that gorgeous? Y'all have lots of nails back here in my office that are show nails. But yeah, something like that. If I'm doing and clean it real good, okay. And then you have your natural stone nails. Bits. If you've ever seen one like this, throw it away. Okay. throw it in the garbage because you cannot use it, honey. Here's another one that they sent in, and you can't use this unless it's for yourself. Okay, these are stone, natural stone. This cannot be disinfected or sanitized. Okay, let me answer a couple of these questions. Let's see. Jennifer said, I'm scared of those bits. I'm afraid I'm going to nick my cuticle. Is that when you recommend the safety? I don't recommend using anything but safety bits. Okay. Just don't even waste your time. You don't need to use anything that's going to cut you and hurt you. I use those to clean off glitter. Do you do online classes? Yeah, we're doing them right now. But yes, we do online classes. Okay. So, any questions about that? All right. Now, the next type of bit we'll talk about, and these are shapes, not necessarily materials. Okay. Tapered barrel bits. I love using a tapered barrel bit. A tapered barrel bit will gets right in that cuticle area really, really good. They're usually shorter, cone shaped. Okay. Uh, like this. This is a diamond barrel bit. Okay. Put this up here. Hello. I'm clicking you while you ain't going. Oh, that's why. So this is a tapered bit, tapered barrel bit. Let me see. I've got other examples of tapered barrel bits. Tapered barrel bit. Okay. Trying to make sure y'all got enough light, but TikTok is saying I'm getting on their nerves with the glare. Let's see. Another smaller one I showed y'all earlier. Tapered barrel. Okay. Very good to get uh in those cuticle areas and not take down your apex. Okay, we don't want to file down our apex. All right. And then this one that you see here is called a French fill bit. Okay. Now, how do those work? How do those work? What we used to back in the day, okay? Back in the day, back in the Tammy Taylor pink and white day, okay? We used to when we did the pink and whites, we do the white acrylic, then you did the pink acrylic or whichever method you did it, whether it was a reverse method or not. And you had to use, I don't have one because I wouldn't do it that way anyway. That was annoying. You had to carve out the French line, okay? Carve it out so that because you would have to fill in the white and the pink. Having pink and whites was not an easy set to maintain because you had to fill in both parts. Otherwise, your white would grow way out here. You didn't have French anymore. So once it got to that point, we did a new set. But for those nail techs that were, whatever, wanting to fill in those nails, they would have to cut out. And so you use that little saucer shaped bit there to go in and cut a ditch in the shape of that V, okay, or that U shape into the smile line to fill in that white. It was awful. I don't know why or how we did it, to be honest. I don't think I did, honestly. I think I just took the nails off and redid them. Time for a new set. Capilot Nail says, can you make a massage muscle tissue video for us, please? Ooh, now that I'm a esthetician, I can. Well, I will be an esthetician on Tuesday. I gotta take my practical. But Lizette said, I am learning so much from Mary Negron School of Nails. I can't wait to start my class in August. I'm going to be getting 100 on everything. Yes, you are, Lizette. Oh, she said, oh, Capilot Nails said, I'm teaching the teacher stuff I learned from you. You better stop, girl. You better stop. But she put you out. She asked me, where do I get the information from? I tell her the class my Georgia teacher. That is hilarious. Okay. She'll be all right. At least you learning. All right. That's what's up, Capilot Nails. I appreciate that. Now, this one is interesting. This one is very interesting. The natural nail disc. I remember when I first saw it, I was like, what the heck is this thing and how do you use it? Okay. This is a natural nail disc. Okay. As you can see in the picture up here. This is for shortening and shaping the free edge of a natural nail. Why would you want one or why would you use it? Okay. Again, this is going to be for your natural nail tech that only works on natural nails, or if you are working on doing a pedicure on someone with their natural toenail. Okay. Why would you need this? Why not just use a file? Well, why not use a file with your hand when you're filing, right? Why not use it? Why use an e-file at all? Well, this is actually beneficial. Okay. For those clients that have those toenails or those toenails that they're so short, you just can't quite get a file underneath. That's what this is for. Let me explain. Okay. So when you turn this, notice that this right here spins. The outside, this portion is spinning. Okay. And this is the diamond bit. Again, we can use the diamond bit on the natural nails. And then this part is spinning as well. But this part lays on the actual skin. So let me show you on a fake finger. Let me pull out a fake finger. Okay. So let's say you have a client who has really short nails that you just cannot seem to fit the file underneath. And this usually happens with a pedicure. On bitten nails, it probably wouldn't even matter, right? Because I don't know what you're doing to a bitten nail. They ain't got nothing. But with this, right, what you're going to do is turn on your file. Now you'll notice you hear that? Y'all hear that? Oh yeah, I know y'all didn't hear that because it's so quiet. Anyway, that new file is so quiet. What you do here is if you've got a client who has really short nails, you take this natural nail disc and you're going to lay it on the skin. Now notice it's going to make noise. Now I'm laying it on the skin and then I'm going to push up against the natural nail like this. Okay, you see that? So it's going to file that natural nail if it was super short. Now this one isn't that short, but it would file that natural nail and it get right up on the skin without hurting your client. Okay, you see that? So if you had a client that had really short toenails or really short bitten nails that you want to fit a file under there, just couldn't, that would be a great option for you. Okay, all right. Let me answer some of these questions. Alicia said, congratulations. Thank you, honey. See that y'all probably didn't know, or maybe you'd missed the live where I said it, but the reason y'all haven't seen me in so long, in let's say almost 9 months, which I thought I was pregnant. No, I was in esthetician school and I finished and I took my state board last week. My practical, my theory. I passed that with an 85. Took me 20 minutes. I knew all the information already. Just rushed right through it. And then I'm taking my practical on Tuesday. Okay, so I'm sure I'll do just fine. Okay. And then we're gonna be opening up this esthetician school. Okay, so that's where I've been. Let's see. Congrats. I'm in love with you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Tio Brujo says, Miss Mary, you haven't popped up in my FYP in months. Glad to see you. Well, now you know why. Glad to see you too. So yeah, so we're back. We're about to start some new classes, all of that stuff. Add some more schedules. Capalot Nail says, we all got to help each other, and congratulations, you got this. You're so educated and I love it. Thank you so much, darling. I appreciate you and I'm glad I could help, even if your teacher, she's just there to watch y'all. At least you're learning something. You know where to go. All right. Thank you. I take notes like I'm in school when Mary Negron School of Nails teaches. That's awesome. You are in school. Hey, you might as well get it while you can. Alicia Boyd said, hey, I just graduated from nail school in May. I'm in Georgia, but I was wondering if your state board practical is updated for 2026 so I can buy it. I already got your state board bag. Okay, so Alicia, I remember, yep, I remember you bought it last week or something, 2 weeks ago. The only thing that's different, okay, is that you've got everything in the bag you need. You're just going to take out a couple of things, which is they took away the removal of the sculpted nail, so you could take that bag completely out. And now you don't have to polish the nails at the manicure. So you can take out the polish, take all the polish out of there because you don't even have to polish. But other than that, everything's the same. You've got 3 bags. Now you only need 2. So on the bags that you have, just write multi-use and single use. Everything else is the same. Okay. Nothing else changed. Okay. They just removed some stuff. So multi-use and single use. So instead of trash, to be disinfected in soiled linen, throw away the soiled linen one, and you're going to throw your linen in the multi-use bag and all the other stuff that's single use in the trash in the single use bag. That's it. That's the only thing that changed. So everything that's in on the practical is exactly the same. And your bag, just take a couple of things out. That's it. Yep, nothing changed. No polish, no soak off. And change your bags to 2 bags instead of 3. And that's it. But I sent everything just in case, because some people buy my kits and they are taking their state board somewhere else. So I kept everything in there. So you're good to go, Alicia. You shouldn't have to worry about it. All right. Lizette said, congratulations, continue blessings. Thank you so much. And Capilot Nails, she's just there to watch, and you teach me much more. I maybe need to move to Georgia. Come on, girl. We'll love to have you. All right. Okay. And then I showed you guys the pedicuring bit, right? But one thing I want to point out about the pedicuring bit, it needs to be going at a very high rate of speed. Okay. Very high. You're filing on skin here. Okay. Skin. So it needs to be filing at a very high speed. Okay. So I'm going to show you. Here's 2 examples of 3 examples of pedicuring bits. Okay. Notice they are all diamonds. All of them are diamonds. Okay. All 3 of them. This one does not have holes. These 2 do, but they're basically the same thing. They do the same thing. So when you are using a pedicuring bit on someone's foot, it needs to be a dry foot. Okay. So what does that mean? If you're going to be using an e-file to do a pedicure and you're going to use the pedicuring bit, the foot needs to be dry. Okay. Meaning start the filing before you start the pedicure. Okay. Now you're going to turn this up at about 20K or higher, and you'll apply it to the client's foot. Okay. And you're going up and down very quickly. Okay. All right. Because that's why it's got the holes in it to reduce. What do you think the holes are for, y'all? The holes are for what? To reduce the heat, because you're going really, really fast. So yes, like Chris said, do not soak the feet before you use the bit. What's going to happen if you do? It's going to be moist and gummy, and it's probably going to hurt the client, to be honest with you, because it's not going to move on that wet foot as it would on a dry foot. Okay. So dry foot, high speed. Okay. All right. Now let's move to these last 2 types we have here. All right. And we briefly discussed your your sanding bands. Okay. Sanding bands are require a mandrel. Okay. What is a mandrel? Well, they come in several different shapes and now several different sizes. Okay. Here's an example. And I always recommend pulling your sanding bands off while it's in the handpiece. Okay. These are mandrels. Okay. This is a mandrel. And you need the mandrel in order to put your sanding band on it. Now they have mandrels that are smaller and sanding bands that are smaller. I love these teeny weeny little sanding bands. these miniature, they're slim. They're actually the 3 millimeter. That's what you look for if you're looking for the smaller ones. Okay. The 3 millimeter sanding bands. See that? Okay. But this mandrel is what it fits on. It's easier to put on when you don't have it in your hand. All right. There's different. This one is a silicone mandrel. All right. This one's plastic silicone. I like this one. I'm gonna be honest with you, but it's hard as hell to get them bands on there and off. But I like this silicone one because it's flexible. It bounces back. It's really good for getting around cuticles once you're finishing, if you want to use a sanding band for finishing. And then here's just a fancy one with a little diamond in the top. All right. You'll notice here that it's got these little grooves here that flare out like a dress. Well, that's to keep the sanding band on. So when you get down to this level right here, when you push it on, it's harder to push on and it will keep it from flying off. Okay. So you gotta have your mandrels. Your mandrel in order to put your sanding band on. Okay. Sanding bands come in different grits as well. I don't see any need for anyone to ever use anything outside of a medium or a fine. Coarse is just, it's just tearing up. It's destroying your acrylic or your gel or whatever you're using. It's digging down into it. Really no need to use a coarse. Unless you're, of course, you're doing a cut down. Okay. Where do I find these bands? I'm gonna tell you one of the best places to shop if you want a wide variety of things. I actually go to this store because it's local. It's in Atlanta. But it's called TDI, transdesign.com. Transdesign.com. TRANS design.com. All right. That's where I buy everything. I don't even go to any other nail supplies anymore. They have everything. They have every brand. You'll see when you go on their website, it's going to make bust your brain. It's too much stuff on there. It really is too much. Okay. I know I caught your video on that. Yes. On the state board. You're welcome. Trans nail design. Yep. You been there? Good. They've got everything. All right. Now, one thing you need to know about sanding bands is they generate a lot of heat. Okay. A lot of heat. So when you're going at a high rate of speed with them, you can burn your client really easily. Okay. And damage the nail. And they should never, ever, ever be used on the natural nail. Okay. Yes, they have discounts for nail techs. Absolutely. You have to be licensed in order to get it. And the more you spend, the more of a discount you get. Like $250, you get 10% off. $500, you get 20% off. That's why I shop there. I go and I'll spend $1,000 and get 40% off of everything. The more you spend, the more money they take off. Okay. And here's another thing about sanding bands. These are not multi-use. These are single use. They must be thrown away after every client. I don't know how y'all use them on multiple clients. I go through 3 of these per client if I'm going to use them. Literally by about the 3rd nail, this thing is dull and I got to throw it away. So I don't really know how y'all manage to reuse them on clients. Okay. If you go to get your nails done, because I know we got a lot of people that watch this show that that don't do nails. They get their nails done. If you see a nail tech reusing a dusty sanding band on you, you need to run away. Glam Artist says she throws hers away, as you should. Okay. Now, the last type of bit I'm going to talk about is the yeah. This one is always controversial. Everybody wants to fight me on it. Okay. But you can argue with your mama. Don't argue with me. Okay. You reuse yours for multiple days. Shame on you, Ava. These ball bits, okay? I don't care how big, how small, what type of bit, if it's diamond or if it's carbide or if it's, I don't care. These are not meant for use on the natural nail, period. Okay. Where's my other one? I got one that's bigger. Oh, here. These are not used on the nail. Okay. Why do I say that? Because I know, okay, first of all, let's get one thing clear here. Okay. We do not, we do not, we do not do Russian manicures. Okay. We live in America. We are American. We are not Russian. We do not do Russian manicures. They are not legal in the United States of America. Okay. So I know y'all use these and you take them and you file on the skin or you use it to remove the cuticle. Shame on you. You are a problem. You are a big problem in this nail industry. You are doing that. Okay. So what are they for? These are called jewelry drills. Okay. They are meant for use of making holes. Okay. Making a hole in a drill, in a nail. Okay. You use them to make holes on the free edge of a nail enhancement. You could also use it to cut designs into acrylic, but this is absolutely 100% not meant to be used on the skin. Now, I have seen, and I think it's okay to use it to exfoliate if you've got a client that's got really, really crusty, dry skin around their nails. A lot of times people bite that part of their nail. You could use it to exfoliate the skin a little bit. Okay. No different than we use the pedicure bit on the bottom of the foot. But remember, people's nails are a lot more sensitive than people's feet. Okay. And you want to be careful. Also, I see people using it under here to file down on the hyponychium that gets really, really hard sometimes or dried out. You guys need to be treating the skin with um, cuticle oil, massage oils, things like that. Not cutting it, because if you're cutting skin, it grows back and gets harder. It's this should make perfect sense if you've been in anybody's elementary school. When you cut something, it bleeds. If it bleeds, it causes a scab. When it causes a scab, it causes a scar. It causes a wound, period. And when a wound or a scar heals, a wound heals and it becomes a scar, it becomes harder. Your skin is the largest living organ on your body. It reacts to everything you do to it. Okay. And if you cut it, or if you're scraping it, or if you're removing anything from it, it's going to react by creating a callus and making it hard all over again. You're the damn problem. Okay. So I'm just about sick of these Russian nail techs. I'm gonna just be honest with you. Y'all don't belong here. And I don't mean Russian as in they're Russian by race. I'm talking about doing Russian manicures. They're not legal. End of story. I just watched one open up in Atlanta and close within a month because the state board shut them down. Y'all better be careful. All right. She said it's Capilot Nail says it's basically used like a file, but different. Are you talking about the ones I just showed you? They're meant for carving, okay? And again, you can use it to exfoliate a little bit, but please don't cut anything or do any cuticle removing with that. Okay? Now, this goes back to the question that Lisette asked me here. Lisette asked, how do you clean and sanitize your nail bits? Okay. They need to be disinfected and sanitized and maybe even sterilized. Okay. Depending on the type of bit that you're using, just like any other bit. Now, I'm a little concerned about my files here. I don't know. Did I skip it? Because there is another bit I want to talk to you guys about. And that's the carbide bit. That's these white ones, not carbide, sorry, ceramic. Ceramic bit. It's these white ones right here. That's one that we didn't talk about. The ceramic, they are made out of a ceramic, which is like a glass. Okay. So very, very, very you can use these at a high rate of speed, and they're not going to burn your client or cause heat. I really like these. Okay. Again, they come in different grits and everything too. But they have flutes just like carbide bits. All right, so let me get back to this, what we were talking about, disinfecting. Okay. Now, make sure before you do any cleaning, disinfecting, sterilizing, that you remove all of the debris, all right, from the bit. And I have one that I purposefully left dirty. I was using it earlier. This one. You'll notice it's got like some little white bits on it here. Little white dusty bits. Okay, y'all see that little white dusty bits? What you're going to want to use before you put it in any disinfectant, just like any other implement, we need to clean. The first step of disinfection is to clean, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to take one of these that's what these are for. Okay. And we're going to remove all of that out of there. Okay. I don't recommend putting your bits in acetone. Okay. For long periods of time. It just dulls them out. But if you have a lot of stuff inside of a bit that we can't get it out, I'll tell you that wire thing I just used will get it out. But you can put it in there for a little bit to try to get it off. But you get one of those wire brushes, you'll be a-okay. Okay, so we want to clean that off, and then the next step would be to I'll rinse it off with soap and water after you clean it off. Okay, so we're going to clean it, and then we're going to put it into our disinfectant solution. Now, drill bits are small. Okay, and so I have this really cute little, and don't mind because it has dissipated a little bit. I don't use it. I haven't used it in this one in a minute because I just put them all together. But I have this really cute disinfecting pot here. Okay. I really like this because you can put your bits in it after you have washed it, okay, and disinfected it. Washed it with soap and water and dried it. Drop your bits in this little container here, right? It should be full with disinfectant solution. I think it's been sitting there for a minute. And then 10 minutes, take it out, rinse it, okay, and then dry it and then put it up, reuse it. Okay. So some of the questions on the TikTok was, so Chris said ceramics break down faster. Absolutely, the ceramic bits absolutely break down faster. Ruby said, I use a toothbrush to clean the bit, then throw in alcohol. Is that okay? Throwing it in alcohol is fine, for 1 second, but you still got to disinfect. That's not going to disinfect it. Alcohol is not a hospital grade disinfectant. Okay, I would use barbicide or some type of other hospital grade liquid disinfectant. Okay, to disinfect it. Use it in the amount of time that it says on the instructions. Okay, and you could also metal bits, ceramic bits. Metal bits and ceramic bits, they can be sterilized, meaning you can put them in the sterilizer, steam sterilizer. All right, autoclave, okay, and to disinfect them, to sterilize them. Banny said, what if you have ceramic bits? Would it be okay to put acetone then? Ceramic is just glass, so it's not going to melt. Okay, you can put it in acetone too. All of them can go in acetone except plastic ones. Or things that have plastic on it. Bree said, best nail instructor in the game. Oh, thank you. Mama Talks Too Much said, Ruby, it should be barbicide or other hospital grade disinfectant. Absolutely. It's got to be EPA, 100%. Okay. Now, when you are, so that's how you clean your bits. Okay. That's why I said you should have several of them so that you're not, without a bit because you have one cleaning. Okay. As you guys can see, especially the people who can see on the overhead view on YouTube, I have more bits than any one human being should ever own. Okay. I could collect them, it seems like. All right. Now, when it comes to the demonstration, the actual physical demonstration, they will do that in class. All right. And I do have plenty of videos on YouTube showing this demonstration, but this is Sunday school right now. So my students are I'm about to get off of here because I don't want to be here too long. But they're just watching for their theory that they need, and then they'll do their hands-on at school this weekend. Now, it's important, okay, when we're using our electric filing techniques, it's important to practice, y'all, before using an electric file, period. If you get a new bit, you're not really sure how to use it, don't try it out for the first time on your client, okay? Practice on yourself. Know how it feels. Feel when you've tried an e-file on yourself, or if you're using a certain type of bit on yourself, you know how much pressure to use. You know how much pressure not to use. Okay. And then practice until you feel confident in your abilities. And then you feel the gentle pressure that you should use when filing on a bare tip before applying enhancement products on it. Meaning, practice on yourself, glue a tip on there, see how it feels with just that bare tip. Okay. So the more you work with your electric file, the more comfortable and skilled that you will become. Ken says, this is why my thumbs are damaged practicing on myself. Well, if you're damaging your thumbs practicing on yourself, how you think your client feels? I'm just saying, you know. But you can also get you some silicone fingers. We practice on clothespins at the school. We practice on the mannequin hands. Okay, first practice on the mannequin hand, then practice on yourself, and then move to clients. Okay. Banny says, I did not even know you were back on TikTok at all, but I'm going to save your information now. I like I was telling them earlier, the reason I've been gone is because I've been in esthetician school. I graduated last week. That for me. So that's why I haven't been here, but I'm back, y'all. I ain't going nowhere. Okay, so practice makes perfect. Okay. Now, here's some techniques that you guys may want to also practice, and I don't really have to, get into too deep. Okay. With how to hold it and everything, to where I can't show you this part. Let me see. Oh yeah, well, the eggs too, which that's what they'll do in class. You got your silicone hands. Ruby said, congratulations. Off topic, is there a difference between polygel and acrogel? No, it's just a name. Polygel is just a brand name. Mine is acrogel, acrylic gel. You can't use the name polygel without getting sued. Only people that can use polygel is Gelish. Okay, so when you are practicing, okay, let me put this on the screen here. All right, when you're practicing, some of the things you need to practice. Okay, first of all, sit up straight at your table. Okay, with your feet on the floor. You don't want to be laid back and chilling and relaxing when you're doing this. Okay, you want to hold your handpiece like a pencil, the same way you would a pencil, for your comfort and control. Okay, you want to put your forearms on the table, brace yourself. Okay, and make sure that your hands are stable. And then use a firm, steady grip. Okay. Do not use too tight of a grip. So, or your hands will start to cramp. Okay. You want to balance your hands by using your pinky finger, and the finger you use to balance will be dependent. For me, it will depend on how long my nails are at the time. But in general, you use your pinky finger or your ring finger, and that's called a fulcrum finger, and that's to balance. Okay. What I like to say is, okay, so these are our ring fingers, right? When you get married, you put your wedding band here, wedding band here. So they're in love. So we want them to kiss. Okay. They need to be kissing. All right. So I'm going to kick that finger out. Boom. Kicking out that kiss finger, kicking this other kiss finger out, and we're going to put them together and they're going to smooch. All right. And then we're going to take that finger. These fingers are more limber. You can move them. And we're going to use that e-file and turn it on here. That thing's so quiet. Gonna turn that e-file on, and I'm gonna use it to go around that finger. Okay. It's as simple as that. Okay. You can use any finger that works for you. Okay. Some people use pinkies. The book will tell you to use the pinky, right? But I don't always use the pinky. I'm more of a I'm and like I said, it depends. If my nails are really, really long, then I use all three of these fingers laid on top of just so I don't mess up my nails. It really depends, but you need to brace somewhere. Okay. Sometimes I brace it like this. It just depends. It depends on the client. It depends on how long the nail is. Okay. It really depends. But you see, just notice I'm bracing somewhere. Okay. And you'll notice that your dentist does it too when they're in your mouth. My dentist loves to lay his heavy ass hand on my bottom lip, and I can feel every bit of it. I'm like, bro. So, but he's bracing himself so that he won't put an extra hole in my tooth. Okay. So use that fulcrum finger. We're almost done here, y'all. Um, Practice with the machine off. Okay. I know that sounds crazy, but practice with the machine off. Okay. Holding it a bit in the center of the nail, moving it from right to left. Okay. Just to kind of get the feel. Because what we're doing is we're moving. If you're right-handed, okay, you're going from right to left, right to left, counterclockwise. Okay. If you are left-handed, you're going to put your e-file in reverse and go from left to right, clockwise. Okay. You want to be sure that you're not holding the file, and this is important. Okay. The e-file, make sure that you're not holding it at a deep angle like this. Okay. Because you're going to, when you're doing your body filing of the actual full nail, right? Don't do, because you're going to put dents in it. You want to hold it flush. Try to make sure y'all can see. Flush with the nail, okay? Like so. And we're going from left to right. Right to left, right to left, right to left. And we're lifting up. We're not staying on the nail because you're going to cause heat, okay? We need to lay it on the nail, go around, lift it up. Lay it on the nail, go around, lift it up, okay? So that you're not causing heat on the client's nail, all right? And then repeat that on all the rest of the nails, okay, to make them symmetric and the same on every nail, okay? Now, this is something that I sometimes teach this in class. We now do the egg. This is more of an advanced way of practicing, okay? Turn on the machine, all right? You're going to choose a low RPM after you turn on that machine, and make sure that the file is in a forward position, not reverse, and practice surface work. Okay. Meaning a lot of times I will take a nail, and I used to do this a lot with students. But we change the way we do it. It's a little bit more fun to do it the way we do it now. But I would take an acrylic full coverage tip, and I would cover it, put it on one of these sticks here, like you can see, and glue it on. And I would just lay a mess of acrylic, just make a mess, bumpy, lumpy, and have them just smooth it out. Practice just smoothing out acrylic. Start with it bumpy and make it smooth. Choose the right bit, choose the right speed, choose the right e-file with the right RPMs and everything, and try smoothing that nail out. Okay. So practice surface work. That's most important. Nobody wants lumpy and bumpy nails. Okay. And if you notice in his picture, you can see even with a safety bit, it's easy to make a dent or divot in the nail. Okay. So that's why I don't really like those flat top ones either. Okay. And then we're almost done, y'all. We're almost done with these. Okay. Now with cuticle work, you want to practice it at a low speed. All right. Well, you're going to be doing cuticle work at a low speed anyway, but when you're practicing, practice at a low speed. All right. Practice with a diamond bit around that non-living tissue. You only want a non-living tissue, y'all. Did you hear what I said? Non-living tissue. Okay. Hey, Jennifer. Non-living. We are not putting an e-file on the skin back here. Okay. No, we're not doing Russian manicures here. All right. Place that bit at the cuticle area. All right. And like I showed y'all with this little teeny weeny one right here, get in that cuticle real good. All right. Low speed. All you're trying to do is remove cuticle. And work from right to left again, low speed. Watch the dust. Make sure you bevel that product at a correct angle. Make sure you're not doing it deep down, digging a ditch, because this is what you get when you dig a ditch. Boom. What are those called? Rings of fire. Okay, for those of y'all that can't see on the TikTok, come over to YouTube. You can see rings of fire. How do we get these? And if you've ever had your nails done, you've seen this on your nails before, especially if you were going to, the non-standard salons. Okay. Always keep that bit flat to the nail and parallel with the nail. Now you keep the bit flat. You curve the fingers, okay? Or you roll the fingers so that you can get rounded shape, but the bit needs to be flat, because if you don't, what's going to happen when you hold it flat is you're avoiding damage to the nail. When you hold it at an angle, you're digging into the nail, which you can literally see on this picture. Every time that client got a fill in, for God's sake, you can see the 2-week growth between every fill in. All right. So this is one of the reasons why I say not to use flat top bits. For safety reasons. There's really no reason for you to use a safe. You got to be extra careful, and it's scary. Okay. So use a safety bit at least at the cuticle area. Okay. If you're going to use flat top bits. Now, avoiding those rings of fire, those red marks that cut into the nail, by filing product with the front edge of the bit. And what happens when you get the rings of fire, is when you're holding it at an angle and using the front edge of the bit. You don't want that. If you go deep enough, you'll end up losing the nail. Okay. And then also when you're using going around the cuticle, y'all check your speed. Be very, very careful with your speed. Okay. Now I'm not going to go into the rest of these slides because, well, not those when it comes to practice, because I don't want to tell too much. The students do that in class. But when it comes to maintenance, like doing your fill-ins and you're removing product or trying to cut back product or remove lifted product, there's a special technique for that called ditching. This is something that, again, I'll have to show you in person. Okay. In order to give you an idea. Again, this is, you guys are on YouTube and on TikTok, you only get a certain amount of stuff for free. My students get pay for the hands-on stuff. All right. That's how we're doing it now. So, or you can pay for a class, which we do. We do have classes one-on-one, and we have a whole e-file course on our website that you can purchase. As well as when we talked about 2-color Frenches, y'all, that's how you use that bit right there with a 2-color French. Soak it off and do another set. I hate fixing nails when I don't have to, like repairing it. I feel, for instance, when your car gets totaled, or when you get in a car wreck, don't y'all pray that they total your car out and you can get a new one? Because nobody wants to drive a repaired car that's been hit in the back, and it just is always going to give you problems. And the same thing with nails. If it's too far gone or too badly damaged, I'm just going to take it off and do a new set. Now, that does not give you permission to not do fill-ins, because I know a lot of new nail techs don't do fill-ins. They're like, I don't do them. And I'm like, when people ask me, why do nail techs not do fill-ins? It's because they don't know how. They don't know how. Fill in is hard, more harder to do. It's harder to do than an actual set. Okay. Um, so thank you, Angerie Williams, for the congratulations. Nail artist 39 says she came from YouTube, came to YouTube from TikTok. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's fun over here. All right. So I prefer to just soak it off if it's bad and it's a whole lot of work. Just you do a new nail. Okay. Shortening the nails when you are doing a cut down. Okay. You want to make sure that you're using a bit that is appropriate, medium to coarse barrel, and then you're going to be holding that bit at a 90-degree angle. So what do I mean? This is going to be straight up and down. 90 degrees is an L shape. Okay. So you want to and start from the tip and work your way up. Don't try to cut right smack dab in the middle. Okay. That's probably not going to work. Okay. Just don't do it. It's easier to start from the tip, work your way up. Okay. Shaping C curves. That's when you're going to hold it literally parallel to the nail. If you are not good at making C curves when you're using a form, you can always fake it by pushing this up underneath and creating a C curve. Okay. Let's see. Last couple of slides here. All right. So with natural nail work, y'all, we already talked about you're going to be removing that non-living tissue from the skin, not from the nail, not meaning cuticle. Okay. Now we've talked about pedicures, e-files with pedicures. Okay, we discussed that already. What types of e-file bits to use and how to use them. Okay, we talked about it being very dry and the different types of bits that you can use. Shortening toenails and reducing cal. You can literally do an entire pedicure with an e-file, and it's so much easier. Oh my goodness. Bella Nails, we got a super chat, girl. Shout out to you. I ain't never got a super chat. That's my first super chat of $20. See? YouTube is where it's at. Thank you so much, Bella Nails. I appreciate you so much. That is awesome. I have never gotten a super chat. That's amazing. Thank you so much. I don't even ask for them. I appreciate that. I mean, maybe I should start asking for them. Ah, goodness. All right. And then also when it comes to pedicuring bits, all right, try not to remove too much callus. Y'all know how it feels to not have any skin on the bottom of your feet. It is awful, and it can cause your feet to split, okay, and bleed if you make them too thin. So we want to leave a little bit of callus, all right? Only 70 to 80% by using a bit, okay? Now, real quickly, let's talk about some troubleshooting for electric files, some reasons why your e-file is acting up or not doing what you want it to do. First of all, we need to reduce dust. Okay, if you're going to be reducing dust, what are you going to use? We're going to using sanding bands causes a lot of dust. Using carbide bits or Swiss carbide bits is going to help reduce dust. Also, having a dust extracting device. Just so y'all know, this is the next Mary Negron School of Nails or Mary Negron Nails product. It is a dust extractor that is wireless. I said wireless. Just saying. This is the next one. We got a new e-file coming out. We got a dust extractor coming out. You know, we bring in the electronics. Okay. And then there is a such thing as a drilling solution that you can put on the nail. All right. And it will reduce the dust, but I just feel like it adds oil to the nail. I don't like them. All right. If you are finding that you don't have enough shine, okay, it's because you are using the improper type of bits with the wrong type of grit. Okay. So if you want, and this is for natural nails, y'all, if you want it to be really, really shiny, you can use a chamois bit. But again, remember, those are not disinfectable or sanitizable. That belongs to the client. If you are experiencing a lot of heat, okay, it's because of the speed of your machine. Your speed is either too fast or you're applying too much pressure. Okay. It could be that it's too slow for what you're doing. You may need to increase the speed. At the end of the day, you're leaving the bit on the nail way too much, and that's causing the heat. Okay. So if you're experiencing grabbing, meaning it's catching on the nail, all right, it's because you're probably not keeping that bit parallel to the nail. And it's also, the bit is too close to the skin. Okay, it could be catching on the skin. So you want, again, using the proper size bit and using bits with rounded tips. Okay. Micro shattering. If you notice that there's shattering to the product or tiny cracks in your nail enhancement, as they age and wear, they can become brittle. And it can also be caused by aggressive filing with or without an electric file. Okay. So lower the speed, use the right type of e-file bits, making sure they're parallel, and correct application and using a finer grit. If you're having shattering, your grit on your bit might be too coarse. Okay. We already talked about rings of fire. We want to avoid those at all costs. Okay. And then the Russian manicure. Okay. We are not grinding off cuticles. We are not going to be cutting the skin around the cuticles. We are not lifting up the proximal nail fold and digging up underneath it and etching that nail to the all the way up to your throat. Okay. This, you can literally lose your fingernails, y'all. Please stop going to Russian nail techs. They ought to be ashamed of themselves. If they are licensed in the United States of America and they are doing Russian manicures, let me find out who they are. I'm gonna report them. Just saying. All right. So, some safety tips. We talked about this already. I don't know why this is on here twice. We already know the safety tips. Keep the handpiece parallel. Turn the client's hands. You can turn the client's hands this way so you can see that they're even and they don't, where they need to be filed and where they don't need to be filed. By the way, do y'all like these nails? These were done with the sandwich forms. I've kind of figured out how to use them. These with natural gel, natural tip color gel, all 100% hard gel. Let's see. Jesse said, I have shredded and separated my nail beds with filer and don't know how to recover. Girl, got to let them heal. Okay. Use a dust extractor. That's a safety tip. Keep your hair tied back. Oh my goodness, this is a big one. Anybody ever gotten their hair caught in their e-file? Woo. It's right here. You down here doing your nails. You just put your hair down there. Whoop. Awful. Okay. You got to cut it 9 times out of 10 to get it out. Keep your hair tied back. Wear eye protection if you wear glasses or some type of, the worst thing in the world is acrylic in the eye that's shot in your eye. I'll tell you another thing, that's when you're removing stones, make sure you wear mouth and nose and eye protection. I got one, a stone went right up my nose. I was plucking the stones, they went bloop and ended up on the back of my tongue. And I coughed it out. It was so gross. Yep, it happened. Sorry. Be careful. And also be careful of repetitive movements that can cause carpal tunnel. Okay. Receive proper education. You guys are getting some good education right now. Okay. And in summary, you guys should now have a clear understanding of the basics of how an e-file works, and also the anatomy of the e-file, the different variety and uses of bits, okay, and e-files, and then how to safely use them and some techniques for filing, okay? Remember, y'all, e-files are fairly new in the nail industry. When I say new, they haven't been around more than 20 years. So remember that you can hand file, all right? This is a tool to make your life easier, to make your business move smoother, and move your clients in and out quicker, okay? So it's not a necessary tool. You don't have to learn to use an e-file, but if you are not trained on how to use it, please, 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 for your sake and your client's sake, get some more education. It's always a great thing to continue learning. I'm always here to help you guys. Even if you're not a student of mine in my school, I am your forever teacher. Just be sure to reach out to me, inbox me, DM me, email me, send a bird, whatever you got to do. Ask your questions. I'm happy to help. Okay. And with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and end this stream. Thank y'all so much for watching. I appreciate y'all. Y'all have a wonderful Sunday, and I will see y'all next week. Okay. Bye-bye.